this video also got deleted because of him. Don't you ever take fault for anything?
What
the Red Bull?
What is the video on?
Did it fry your? Have you ever seen a bull actually be red?
Okay, what is this video on?
Monster sponsors Fnatic. # always FNC.
That's not this video. What is the video? I don't know.
Okay. So we actually had a pretty decent discussion about the teams that make like the biggest off-season moves. In the off-season, it was between SKT, TL, Misfits, G2 made a pretty considerable one. And like there was another team that made some crazy moves too. It was in would TSM be considered crazy moves by bringing like Smoothie and letting Mythic?
I think obviously the biggest ones in NA are gonna be
100 Thieves.
100 Thieves and Team Liquid are gonna be the big ones from NA. The big
but
ones.
I think TSM like letting go of Mythic, breaking up Sven and Mythic would be kind of big in some aspects. Maybe because you factor in Sven and Mythic have been playing together for a long time. So. Or I forgot LPL teams too.
What's his name? I'm just trying to remember the team that brought in the Sword Art.
Fun Plus Phoenix?
No.
Sunny Gaming?
No. It's SN?
Is it SNL?
I don't know if it's called S. I'm trying to remember. But that team has Maple.
Oh, you can't just go to like Leaguepedia and just type in Sword Art? I'm pretty sure the LPL. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're on Fun Plus Phoenix.
They're not on Fun Plus Phoenix for sure.
They're on Sun Gaming. That's for. I'm pretty sure they're on Sun Gaming.
Suning.
Sun Gaming. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
okay. It was Suning. I was trying to remember the name of the team, to be honest.
All right, so he kind of wanted to talk about China, so we'll kind of get this one kind of out of the way really quick.
I mean,
maybe XD. Okay, so Maple and Sword Art, the last two good players out of the LMS go to Sun Gaming. He thinks that Maple's not even like world class, but most people would put Maple as a world class.
I think Maple was the world. I mean, he was the best mid laner in Taiwan. I do think he's slightly overrated. I mean, honest, I'm gonna put that out there because a lot of people want to put him in. I do think he can compete with the world class talents, but if I think he specifically is world class, like in terms of rookie and all those people, I don't think so. I don't think he's as good as them.
Well, he's going to have to prove it this year.
He has to prove
because
it. Because
Flash Holes were guaranteed going to Worlds every single split. Now he's not guaranteed Worlds.
I think there's two teams in China, obviously, that make extremely drastic moves that I think, honestly, put them in, in a position where I think they're good enough to be on a, what is it called? Good enough to be, like, in this little discussion thing. Who made the biggest moves? Obviously, I still think IG is probably the best team. Like, best team in Korea. I'm China. I don't think that's changed really much.
World's run. They didn't lose in the Demacia Cup.
But I want to point out...
literally trolling.
I want to point out two teams. First off, we're going to go with Suning Gaming. It's going to be... In the bot lane, we're going to have... It's going to be... what is the dude from... He was on Rogue Warriors.
Oh, I love that dude. SMLZ.
SMLZ was the second...
He's literally considered... like a version of like a scorer, a person that's so good that they haven't been to like worlds or an international competition.
Yeah. SMLZ is the second best ADC in China, if anybody knows that.
Behind
Uzi. I mean, obviously that's not really a bad thing. I think he was probably in the top 4 for ADCs in the world. I think
he was all pro Chinese ADC.
I think he was consistently the best ADC in the league during the regular season because Uzi didn't play. I think it was pretty substantial, and even then, I don't think he's that far behind Uzi. If you want my honest opinion, I think that
he just needs a team that just.
And you paired him up with Sword Art, who I think is a completely world class support. I think he's really one of the better.
Sword
supports.
Art literally carries teams.
Yeah, I think he's one of the better supports in China as it stands right now because there's not.
But are SMLZ and Sword Art going to be able to carry the weaker top side of?
I don't know if I would call them a weaker top side. To be honest, they have.
Who's their top laner?
No, Xiao Al. He was one of the best performing top laners in the what's it called in the Nest tournament. I think that 369 kind of outperformed him to an extent, but I still think Xiao Al and Hacker, who's the support, I'm the jungler. I think they're one of the most talented, like, kind of young people in the league. Obviously, there's a few other younger people who I think, like, maybe Knight, but for the most part, I think they're some of the most talented young people in the Chinese league.
Like, I don't know where we're gonna put Sword Art and Maple. Like, they're not gonna go to Worlds most likely this year. Yeah. It's looking like they're not gonna be at Worlds.
I really would disagree with. I think that Suning Gaming has a really good chance. Honestly, they have a really strong.
They don't have weak positions.
They don't have any weak positions. I think their weakest laner might be like I don't even know, honestly.
I think their biggest problem might be coming to like macro. I think
has
this
to
team
be
is all aggression, no macro. I think they're gonna fall into
It
that
might
category.
be it. I agree with that
I
because
just don't think like this team can have any macro in any sense.
if anybody remembers this, the Zhao and Hacker are two extremely young players who are extremely mechanically skilled, but they what they lack is a lot of sense. They make a lot of stupid moves, and I could see that probably being the downfall of this team. But I think maybe with a kind of a strong guiding hand with three like extremely long-term veterans in SMLZ, Maple, and Swordart who have been in the team for a while, like in the league, for a while. They all speak the same language. I want to point that out. Like every single one of these players speaks the same language, so there's no just because they're imported.
Yeah,
they still can understand each other, so that no communication issues.
I think maybe I wouldn't be surprised if they made playoffs. That wouldn't surprise me.
I'm 100%. I'm almost certain they're going to make playoffs.
I love the Fun plus Phoenix.
I think they're going to be a top 3 team in China. I think that is. It might be a hot take. Maybe I don't know. I think they're going to be better than RNG. Another thing I'm going to say out there.
Oh, he's putting it. RNG is they won both splits.
Both
splits in 2018.
If you want my honest opinion, I think RNG is the 4th best team in China as it stands right now.
Because you have didn't EDG make any changes?
I think EDG is worse than them. Obviously, I don't think
EDG made any drastic changes, but EDG are also you gotta consider still a threat too.
They are. I mean, EDG has a lot of strengths in both. I would say their weakest position is probably still jungle. Because
I was going to say their weakest position might be their bot laner.
No, iBoy is really good. iBoy is one of the most talented ADCs.
That's the problem with iBoy, is that he's good, but he doesn't like...
I think he's less inconsistent than the usual inconsistencies.
He plays team fights incredibly...
He's aggressive. I would say he makes some mistakes, but I think that iBoy is still one of the more talented ADCs.
I think if EDG really want to like challenge for the LPL title game and be like that TSM type of team where you're winning all the titles, iBoy needs to control his aggression, and I think Haro, that's his name, should probably end up starting over Clearlove, because I don't think Clearlove's been good for a very long time.
Haro has been starting over Clearlove.
I just don't think Clearlove's been good for a while.
I don't know, but Clearlove looks a lot better in the few games that he played, to be honest. I think
he looked really bad in the funnel meta.
He didn't really play in the funnel meta, really. Like, he played, I think he played one game, but for the most part, I think Haro's played most of the games.
Like, the tanks he was given on, he looked really underwhelming. Like,
I don't know.
This is...
I think Clearlove looked pretty decent. This is one of his best performances at Worlds this year. I'm going to put that out. I think this is the best performance he's had at Worlds.
It was always hyped up to be really good.
But this is the first year he wasn't hyped up. I think he looked extremely good. I think this year...
In 2017 Worlds, he wasn't really terrible either.
Yeah, but it's still his best year this year. I think his... I
think Ray is still really... I think Ray's just been drastically improving for a while.
But we kind of got distracted right there. Our two teams who made the best improvements, I would say, obviously, are SNL. Suning Gaming, and then the second team I want to point out is Top Gaming. Yeah.
So you guys remember that 0-10 team that had Marin? Yeah, they completely changed.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go to the top laner first. 369 was the single best performing player at Nest, I would say. With Nest, obviously, China has a bunch of off-season tournaments, and Nest was a big one for the younger players, and I think 369 was like absolutely one of the most tremendous players at that tournament. He's the top laner for them right now. And I think XX is, again, I would say he's probably their weakest player. But again, I still think he's incredibly talented. I think, like, if we're going to say he's the weakest, I still think that's really not saying much.
He might be weak in terms of just knowledge around the map, around, competitiveness.
Well, I guess, but the thing about it is, I really think that he's capable of taking pretty much anybody on.
I don't think he'll be like, he's probably not going to win, he's not going to win MVP. But I definitely don't see him... Could he get, like, the all-pro Chinese team?
I think he could be in the top. I think he could get second or third. Or, honestly, it depends. He's capable of getting first, but there's better junglers than him. I mean, right as it stands right now, he's still young, so he could improve from that.
I think the biggest question mark / player it's still hyped up is Knight.
I don't say he's a question mark. He's been...
Because the issue is he's coming from streaming to a competitive nature. Now, it worked out with the Shy, factoring Shy's older, so it's probably going to pay off a little bit more easier. He's young. He literally just came out. He was a streamer. It's very... It's odd. We've never really seen the scenario of a pro streamer turn competitive player. We've only really seen it with the Shy.
I'm going to put this out there. I think that Knight is completely capable of, by the end of this year, being on par with Rookie. I'm going to put that out. I really think he is. I think if anybody's watched him in the past year, if anybody watched him, right at the end of last year is when he started becoming just ridiculous talent. I think he's the single most talented Chinese player in terms of just pure, like, actual Chinese players.
You can't be NA in China.
Sorry. I think he's the single most talented Chinese homegrown talent in China in terms of maybe not including rookie. But obviously Knight has not came into that form. He's not been playing enough, and he's not had next success. But I think by the end of this year, a lot more people are gonna know about Knight.
I think someone will try and buy his contract.
I could easily see that.
He's contracted with them until 2021. So
you can buy his contract out if you contact the team. He wants to leave.
Please do that before November, guys.
Yeah.
Don't be poaching around here.
But Knight, I'm gonna put this out there, is gonna be probably the second best mid laner in China. I think he's gonna be keeping up with Rookie, but obviously I still think Rookie's slightly better as it stands right now. I think that Knight is going to be, by the end of the year, I think when he's kind of he's been playing a little bit longer, I think he might be able to compete with Rookie. I think another big, gigantic, obviously they brought in Knight. I think the only two people they kept were 369 and XX.
XX, he wasn't even that bad himself either.
Not a bad player. I think they don't really have bad players.
You really only seen him on the Camille jungle the whole time. He was playing Camille and Graves. That was mostly what he was playing the whole split. So in terms of, do I think he's flexible? No, but I don't think that he'll be punished as likely if he just plays those effectively. Because remember, Ning only played Zac and Xin Zhao the whole split and they won, so anything is possible.
Let's think about the two bot laners now is what the biggest portion of this team that a lot of people are going to be surprised about. It's going to be Loken from ESC Ever. He was on there for a while. That's the team he came into the league with.
Did Loken play on Africa at one point?
Yeah, he played on a lot of teams though. I think his most recent team.
He's their import, so they're paying this guy some hefty money to be here. So he needs to be the one that does perform if he wants to keep a spot on the team. You look at what he's actually played on. The last thing he played on was what in 2018 was Demacia Cup and Nest, right?
So yeah, he played in Nest.
The last series he won it 2-1. So
no, the last one he did was in the finals versus IG, which they lost 3-1. I think IG is still.
Oh, my bad. Yeah.
Yeah, they were actually the winners. They actually beat IG in the first time they played. They kicked him out of the winners bracket. Then they ended up losing.
Yeah,
but I still think that's incredible.
Cup is like some weird Smash thing where you get a losers bracket.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, I would say the fact that they could even take IG, who's been kind of together for a lot longer.
A lot of people did say IG was trolling, so
no,
they weren't taking him too seriously.
No, IG, if you watch their first match against, who did they play?
They played EDG, I think.
No, EDG played RNG. EDG played RNG. IG played
one of the new teams, right?
It was. Let me see.
Yeah, because IG is playing Duke at the moment.
Yeah, they played Duke the entire time. Let's realize that, and I still think.
I think that if they had played the Shy, the whole top thing would not even be they would have just probably 3-0'd them.
I would say so,
because Duke doesn't offer what the Shy does.
But Duke is still an incredibly talented player, so the fact that they could even do that, I still think that's really good on their part.
But Duke, I think overall, Ben
and Loken. Okay, so let's realize that Ben and Loken. Ben is from Mystic and Ben. If you remember the old WE bot lane that was super hyped up to come into Worlds in 2017, 2016.
2017, yeah.
2017, yeah. Sorry.
They made top 4. Ben has had some. He's won a split. He's had some accolades.
Yeah, I think he was really good in certain aspects. I think he started. Obviously, he left WE because Mystic fell off the side of the earth, so there was no reason to stay with him.
Mystic was, oh my god, so overrated.
He was not overrated. He was really good for.
Mystic has always kind of been that way. He'll have spurts of really good, and then he'll just fall off. He's did it before. I wasn't really surprised he did bad this year. Well, WE in general just fell off.
But Mystic was hurt this year. That's why he didn't play for most of it.
Ben, I don't know. If you factor, he was mostly known for his Bard. I think he can't play certain support champions like the other top support players in China can.
I think he's a top support. I would put him up there. I think he's easily able to compete with pretty much anybody in the league.
Mako? He's probably the best support in the league.
Mako's the best support in the league?
I would say, yeah.
I wouldn't say that.
I think he's better than Balong. I think Mako's better than Ming.
Ming. Ning or Ming?
Ming. So RNG support and
I know what you're saying. I was just making sure you said that.
Ben can't really his playmaking. The playmaking with him is fine. I think he tries too much for his aggression, and he always gets punished for it.
I would have to be honest with a laner like Loken. I can't imagine this doesn't work out. These are two really good laners. So they have one of the better laners, one of the better bot lanes in China. They have one of the better They have one of the best mid laners in the world.
Potential.
I mean,
potential.
I'm basing it off what I've seen recently. Yeah. He played at the end of last year at the Demacia Cup. We've seen him look absolutely incredible. I think without a doubt, he's at least in competition for the second best mid laner in the China, at least.
XX, fine player. I think he needs to put a little bit more junglers in his pool, but that's pretty much it.
But I think he's obviously XX is really talented, and 369, one of the best up and coming top lane talents in China.
Wasn't he stuck on like Orin duty the whole time?
No. I mean,
I feel like he was stuck on Orin and Sion duty the whole time.
They didn't. I think they played. They swapped out the top laners during the.
Moyu.
Yeah, but for the most part, I think that it's obvious 369 is absolutely incredible.
Now, what if this team had Marin still?
This team would suck.
Really? At least they have a shot caller.
At least they have somebody who speaks Korean as the shot caller. Awesome.
That kind of sums up for the two Chinese team that kind of made the biggest moves. I mean, are we forgetting anyone?
No, I mean, I just wanted to do two for each thing.
Yeah. I'm just gonna quickly grant. Oh, I mean, you can kind of kept Billy took Bibley took Kuro.
I think Kuro's not a bad pickup. I still think
they have ADD from MVP as a top laner.
I think that's a pretty bad pickup.
I think MVP's best player was their jungler, the newest guy they brought in the before Beyond. After Beyond, I thought Beyond was good too. Yondu, that was his name. Yeah, I thought Yondu was a really decent player. I'm trying to forget. No one else made any drastic moves.
I mean,
like big. Oh, Imp is on JD Gaming. So people who remember Imp as a 2014 world champion, yeah, he's on JD Gaming. Now JD Gaming knocked out EDG to put them in the regional qualifier, and they were actually looking like a pretty decent up and coming team.
I mean,
they made some pretty decent moves. You have Flawless coming into the jungle. You have
it's going to be Levi probably in the jungle.
If Levi doesn't work out and can't play team way, I think Flawless can start over.
Let's be honest. Their worst player was Bavoy. I think
really?
Bavoy,
their worst player was like Yagao.
No, Yagao's not bad. I think Bavoy was the worst player on that team, but Imp had to take over this position because the fact that honestly Bavoy was a mess. I think that you can't go wrong with this. Imp has a big fan base. Doesn't work out, you still get a lot of fans.
Zoom really showed why he was a good top laner this
but
and he got second all pro Chinese top laner too. He actually almost won MVP, so I think JD Gaming made some drastic moves, Suning Gaming and top.
So I wouldn't put JD Gaming in the same.
I think those you're bringing in a world champion, ex-world champion. You're bringing in.
Come on, man. Imp has not looked good for a while. I think the only two really good rosters right now that have added on. I think it's obviously just Suning and Top Gaming. I think the rest of them, some of them made good choices, and I think that even JD Gaming, Imp was not a bad move, but for the most part, I think the big roster changes they have to be Top and Suning. Everybody else is kind of left behind.
So that does it for China week. Do you want to move? You want to just still stay in the East or go to the West?
Let's just finish South Korea now.
All right. Korea's big. Well, I mean, because there's SKT, but who would be made the other big changes?
The other big changes?
Yeah, another team who made some big changes.
I would say Afrika, to be honest. I think Afrika.
We don't have to largely downgrade in their changes.
I don't think so, honestly. They got at least a better mid laner by far.
Like if you factor in drastic changes, like Kingzone is definitely a big drastic change coming from
Yeah, I mean. Realistically, if we're talking about who made good changes, I mean, we don't have to do two for each region. I think
Why? I mean, we don't have to do this specifically good. You can do bad changes too. If you're talking about bad changes, Kingzone hands down made the worst changes. Oh my goodness.
They did not make the worst changes. We're talking about Jinair.
I mean, Jinair literally wasn't going to change anything.
They lost their only two good players.
No, I mean, but you don't expect good things from them anyway.
I do. They were good at one point.
Yeah, you expect good from Kingzone.
Yeah.
I mean,
let's be honest. One of the worst changes in all the major regions is Jinair. Jinair might actually single-handedly be the worst out of all the major regions.
Teddy probably.
Teddy for I would say, who?
Whatever the new guy's name is.
Stitch is Stitch on that team.
Yeah, Stitch from G-Rex.
Yeah, and then Linderong, and that's your team. And Linderong's average, maybe slightly above average, and Stitch is good. And that's it. That's pretty much all you got. The rest of the team is absolutely atrocious.
You go from BDD to Pawn, and then you go from Khan to Rascal, and then you go with Peanut to Cuz. I
don't even know if Peanut to Cuz is that much of a downgrade, to be honest.
But at least that's 3 potential downgrades And they're not
I wouldn't
winning.
even say
Kingzone's not winning a title unless Korea completely starts sucking.
I mean, they weren't expected to win a title with most of the better players going on to SKT. SKT's expected to win a title.
Yeah. If you go with Genji didn't make anything big. I mean, I guess if you want to count the other good one, Afrika did make some good ones.
I think the biggest if we're gonna talk about the best two teams in Korea in terms of non-Griffin who didn't make any changes, it's got to be SKT and KT. Those are the two best non-Griffin. I think everybody else has done a pretty poor job, and even Korea. I mean, KT looks a little bit weaker than they did, but with Gong,
but I think Weaker's good for them.
Is Weaker good for them? No, I
don't know because you factor
why would Weaker ever be good?
They didn't get what they wanted out of the star players, so maybe the weaker players might give you the success you need.
How would you get success from worse players? Tell me that.
They didn't get success from better players.
So you go get worse players? How is that a better change?
More consistent players.
They're not more consistent than that. No. You're telling me that Snowflower is more consistent than Mata. You're telling me that Gongo, who has never been on a main roster, is more consistent than Def. They're taking a terrible
players
chance.
That have been consistent.
They lost their players. That's all that happened. They didn't take a chance. They weren't able to keep them. That's
they didn't do well with better players, and they're.
So how in the world is that a logical choice to get worse players because it didn't work?
Technically, they didn't get worse players. They side graded UCal to BDD.
I would say that's a downgrade, to be honest, slightly.
You have, BDD was one of the best mid laners in Korea this year.
Yeah, UCal is a rookie, and he looked better than BDD pretty much most of the year. I think UCal is a better player.
UCal had superstars on his team.
UCal looked good.
I mean, you can look good if you have superstars in every position.
He looked good, regardless. When they were struggling in the spring, he looked good.
You also
when they struggled during some of their losses in the finals, he looked good.
Like I'm not gonna lie, KT have the strongest top side in Korea so far. BDD, Score, and Smeb. That's arguably the first strongest top side.
I don't think they're the strongest top side. I think a stronger top. No, you know what? Let me think. If Smeb is on form, I guess yes.
I guess you're counting right. Chovy, Tarzan, and Sword.
No, definitely. That's actually
That's probably the best. That's probably the best top side so far.
I don't know if it's the best. That's just competitive. But I think that in terms of just who's been synergized more, we saw that from the Demacia. I'm from the Kespa Cup. They demolished everybody. But I think if we're gonna talk about, I want to get back on track. We kind of got distracted talking about teams. But on top of track, I think that the best team in terms of just good moves is gonna be SKT. Without a doubt, they got the single best bot lane in the world now. I think that's pretty obvious that that's the case with Teddy and Mata. That's the best bot lane. They have Faker. I think we don't really have to go over Faker. If you don't know who Faker is, you probably. I don't know why you're watching this video.
You need to go watch some Faker versus Ryu highlights.
Yeah, just type in Faker. I mean, you'll figure it out.
You'll find like 20 montages of Faker.
But and then we have Klid and Haru, who I think are both incredibly talented junglers, and we have Khan, who I think if he comes back on the form on carry junglers, could be absolutely tremendous. And even if he doesn't come back to complete form,
now if he's on a jungle as a top laner,
he is still better than Thal. Still better than Thal and Untara. This is regardless of the situation.
Regardless of both players, Untara was Intara, as Twitch chat called him.
I'm sorry, even if he doesn't come back on the form, this is a good pickup. So every single position got upgraded.
They literally upgraded in every single spot.
Except for mid, that was a downgrade.
Well, yeah, because they had Pyrian. They didn't choose to keep Pyrian.
Yeah, they didn't keep. I don't understand. Pyrian was world class mid laner, and they're going to keep that guy. It doesn't make sense.
That's stupid. Faker.
I guess Faker's still pretty close.
I think Khan, like I said, yesterday. I think if Khan doesn't show some different type of playstyle at certain points in which you need to show certain different playstyles, that could be a problem, but that's only going to be a problem like best of fives. Realistically, they're playing best of threes for 18 weeks. That's 32 games.
Again, if he's playing on form, they have to be able to. If you can't beat him in lane, you can't expose him. I think that's really only going to be a problem with the top teams. And even then, if he's on form, no one's going to beat him on Jace. Like if he
just chose Jace, blind picked it, you're probably losing that game.
Yeah, no matter what you do, you're gonna lose that lane. I think that if Khan comes back onto form, this team wins the Worlds easily, just without a doubt. And the fact
against IG, if IG go back to the Worlds too,
100%. I think that they just win out in every other position. They win out in bot lane for sure. Even though I love Jackie Love and I think Balong has improved, Mata and Teddy are just gonna smash.
I think Rookie could match Faker. I think Shy could match Khan, and I think
If
could go toe to toe with Klid. He did it before. He did it in their own region.
I think that Klid and Haru are too versatile a two-man to kind of hold on to with the jungler. I think that the shot calling is a big thing with IG. Still didn't have too good of shot calling. If they don't roll over you in the first few minutes, which I don't think they're capable of SKT, they're just going to lose. So I think they're easily going to get beat by SKT if they make it to the finals. I think it might actually be a 3-0.
No, I could see IG starting out 2-0 against
IG
SKT if they don't respect them.
IG has... No, everybody respects it. IG, they just won Worlds.
I
What I'm saying is SKT has to get rolled over, and I
could see
think
them, that's the weird thing. I could see this SKT team getting rolled over in their actual region.
by who? Tell me who's capable.
I think teams like KT, Afrika, which aren't like they have players that are competent enough to actually be able to match the other.
No one
SKT
is gonna
aggression.
match. No one is gonna match the spot lane. Even in the games that they lost, we didn't see any of the teams match their bot lane.
You have Griffin,
Griffin's
who I
bot
think
lane.
who
no.
can match.
Griffin's
SKT.
bot lane got completely. Everybody lost. Everybody lost to Griffin's. I mean SKT's bot lane. I mean even in the
Weren't
games
they only
that.
scrimming for like 2 weeks?
Yeah, but I'm saying even in the games they lost, we saw. Teddy,
it wasn't even Teddy Amato's fault.
Teddy Amata looked absolutely incredible. I think this bot lane already, without a doubt, has the best energy in the league. I think they're the best bot lane in the league. I think the best bot lane in the world. I think that Faker is just gonna once Khan finds his identity and kind of gets back on the form.
Once Khan is King Zone Khan again.
Yeah, then Faker's not gonna be shoved onto Lissandra duty all day, and they'll be fine.
He said he does have picks he hasn't shown yet.
Yeah,
so.
he does. Obviously, I think the reason that they kept him on Lissandra is to kind of let Khan keep trying to figure out what kind of player he is.
Well, they put Khan on Cho'Gath, Urgot, and like Sion.
Yeah, and he's not that type of player yet. Once he gets that down, though, he's good.
So they're teaching an old dog some new tricks.
That was not a good reference. I don't like that.
I don't like.
Okay, so that's pretty much.
That's Korea.
Yeah, I
Moving on to the West.
Let's go to EU first.
EU, more like
Don't
the
do
G2 Army hashtag.
Wait.
Wait.
What are you doing?
I put that wrong.
Don't know.
Okay. Technically, if you want to count this as one of the craziest offseason changes in most recent league history,
Don't know who you're talking about.
perks to ADC.
That's-
If you watched All Stars, where rookie that Lucian game, guys, you need to go watch it. I don't care if it's All Stars, go watch that rookie Lucian game. Rookie is absolutely incredible. But Quickshot said that Perks, out of his own mouth, said Perks didn't want to be complacent. He wanted to go as far as he can. A bunch of different reasons. You can go watch the interview. Just type in like All Star League, and you have he talks about it. This might be one of the craziest changes we've seen in how many years?
I don't care about crazy.
This is crazy.
Well, I was
a
talking
really
about
decent, really great EU mid laner going to ADC.
We were talking about good. We didn't say crazy.
Well,
We talked about the best changes.
technically, this might be a really
It
great
might
role
be,
swap for
but
them.
again, on paper, I think that the best upgrades would have to be.
Would this be upgrades to Wadid and Yarnin?
No.
This is what they're upgrading.
I don't think so. I don't think that Mickey X and Perks are going to be a better bot lane.
But was Wadid better than Mickey X?
No, I would say no to that.
I think what they had their moments. I wouldn't say one was better than each other.
I would say Mickey X was probably better than him, but that's saying something.
But then is Perks going to be a better ADC than Yarnin?
I don't think so. I don't. We haven't seen enough. We haven't seen Perks play. I mean, good. You have some knowledge on the map, but like these people have been playing ADC for years.
And just every day they play. Like he's been playing it for what? I don't know how long, but like. I mean, people said the same thing about Score and Ambition when they switched. Like, they're going to be beaten out by junglers that have been doing it for longer than them. And
They did it at the very beginning of League.
To be fair,
Yes.
that's kind of how they kind of got it to work with them.
Yes, they did it at the beginning when a lot of people didn't have a lot of experience on their league, and they kind of had to figure out the roles were still being figured out at that point.
But another crazy, because you have G2, they didn't stop there. They took caps from Fnatic.
I would say I don't really want to talk about G. I don't think their pickups were great.
I mean, picking up caps for
That's good,
Perks.
but I think probably the best on paper pickups in terms of comparison to the last season is gonna have to be Schalke. I think
Or
that's,
Misfits, right?
I think Misfits. Okay, I want to address Misfits because a lot of people are hyped up on the Gorilla train.
You said Schalke over Misfits. So like, compared to like Gorilla coming in, compared to Schalke getting like Ignar.
Okay, let's think about Gorilla. Gorilla's biggest thing is, if anybody realizes why Gorilla is known as a world-class support, it's because of his playmaking and shot calling. Two things he cannot do on a team where he doesn't speak the same language properly. I really don't see this being as impressive as people are making it. Obviously, like he could just speak, he could rely less on shot calling and could just purely go off his like mechanical skill, which is still good. So I don't think he's going to be a bad support. But saying that somebody
He would still have to be able to communicate effectively
some-
with
yeah.
his ADC to fully
yeah.
push their lead. If he can't fully communicate with what's his name, Hansama?
I think, I mean, to be fair, it works out with Ignar because Ignar's just mechanically a monster. And honestly, like, again, playmaking and shot calling are two things that Gorilla can't do now. And those are his two main qualities as a player. Like, how are we going to see him pull these things off when in reality...
How's he going to call for, hey, you need to TP now if he can't say that?
Yeah, he's just like, I can see... He's still a great player, and I still think he's going to work out pretty decently. He's still an upgrade from the last support. But, again, like... He can't shot call now.
This might be one of the biggest upgrades in like the offseason.
I don't
Mickey X to Gorilla.
No,
Dude,
I wouldn't say
crazy.
biggest. No,
It's up there.
It's
you're
not
taking
even
someone who looks really underwhelming all year.
Mickey X was a top 4 support in the league.
No, he's arguably like 7th.
No, you didn't. Mickey X is one of the better supports in the league. I would say he's the top 4 or 5.
But you're taking him compared to a
Gorilla, who again I told you his 2 best qualities are non-relevant now. So you're relying mostly on his mechanical skill, which isn't really. He's good at not his best quality.
He carried some games on his mechanical skill.
But not his best quality again.
And you factor in now he's doing it against weaker competition.
And again, he was not. That last year was just not his best year. So I think that we're going to see a lot of things like different in this year. I think that he's going to look a lot weaker this year, or he might look a lot better now that he's kind of revitalized. He's kind of excited about a new region. Maybe that's going to help him come into the spot, and I don't know. But realistically, again, Gorilla's best qualities, playmaking and support, he can't do now. So
You're saying
I think
Schalke, but you mentioned Schalke.
Schalke, obviously, Memento. Let's think about that.
Memento for amazing?
Yes. Yeah. Memento for amazing.
It's definitely an upgrade.
Odoamne.
Over Vizicachi?
I think that's pretty equal all around.
Yeah.
I think that's fine. I think Abadigi is good to take a chance on.
Because Nuke Duck, despite all the teams he's been on, has not really had success.
I think Nuke Duck is probably better than Abadigi, to be honest. And Nuke Duck's a really good player. I was kind of sad. I think that was probably a downgrade, to be honest. But their bot lane is the big thing I'm hyped up about. Upset and Ignar. That's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous bot lane. I think that's going to be one in the top
That's
2.
the bot lane I can see people highly underrating and them just surprising everybody.
I think there's a lot of people just thinking this is going to be the only... Like, Upset might be the best ADC in EU.
No, because you have people like Reckless still.
I don't know if that's sarcastic or not. I think he might be the single best EU ADC. I think Upset might be. I think that...
Over Reckless.
Over Perks?
Single best? Ooh.
No, I think Upset is probably the best
Just
ADC.
factor in there's Reckless.
I get
now
that.
Perks. Who's Hansama?
He's better than Hansama, for sure.
I
would say he's for
think they
sure.
have very similar qualities in what they try to offer their team.
It doesn't mean they're as good. I think Upset's...
Attila?
He's better than Attila, for sure.
Attila, he's good.
He's good enough. I think Attila got overrated for his Draven plays. I still think he's one of the better ADCs in the
Picks
year.
Draven to Uzi. Was he a madman?
Yeah, but he's not as good. He's not as good as Upset. Upset
Definitely not. The Attila and Jackshaw are not
I think,
better than...
Honestly, with the team now that Upset has around him, I think he's gonna look like I'm gonna say he's gonna be the best ADC in EU.
He single-handedly carried some games for them.
I think that obviously Reckless is still in competition for that, but I do think I think Upset now with Ignar kind of has the edge.
And is that for EU?
We said that we didn't really discuss most of.
No, I'm pretty sure there was another team from EU that made some drastic changes.
Misfits obviously.
Misfits, Schalke.
I think Misfits.
G2.
It has to be Misfits, and I think that G2 made the biggest kind of craziest move, but and we kind of went over it already. So I think the best moves are going to be Misfits and
Schalke.
Who has Vizicachi now?
Spliced is.
Splice's team is what I was hyped about.
Norskaren.
Yes.
Hobby.
Yes. Good. I would put them also up there. That's the team.
Decent changes too, because they have Xerxes still.
Yeah, Xerxes is a really good, one of the better junglers. We have Kabe and Norskaren.
Odoamne is actually on Splice too. So they have a decent team.
Odoamne is on Schalke. You mean Vizicachi?
Vizicachi is now on.
Yeah, that's what we kind of mixed them up. We just talked about him.
Gosh,
but Vizicachi,
those guys.
One of the best time players in the league last year. We have Kabe and
does really well with less resources.
Yeah, Kabe and Norskaren, really good players. I think they're really good, and I think
they'll work out better than Kabe and Kasing.
Kabe and 100%. I think just Norskaren's a better player at this point. I think that we're gonna have a mid laner of what is his name?
Oh, I actually have to look at his name because I actually forgot myself. What is Oh, you just search. Is it right there? Are you gonna work?
No.
Because I honestly did forget Splice's mid laner because they were going to take a chance on someone new.
Okay.
Because they were supposed to be taking a chance on someone new, unless they got a veteran that I don't remember. They now have
Humanoid. Yeah, it was Humanoid. That's who I was trying to remember.
Yeah, because Schalke and them took a chance on new people.
So I'm gonna say that this might be what might be the most underrated. Them in
Tyrewolf. Tyrewolf is actually he was good.
He's not gonna take the spot of.
I could see him doing it if
North
can't play. No, Tyrewolf is a jungler.
I thought he was support.
I could see Tyrewolf taking the jungler spot from Xerxes at certain moments.
He's not better. I remember what you're saying, but you're talking about he was on, what team was he on?
Cal's Latin Gamers.
No, he's not better. No, he was not better than Xerxes. I'm sorry.
I think Tyrewolf was better last year.
He was not better than last year. I like Tyrewolf. I think he's good in terms of if he can kind of just get into the EU system. But he's not better than Xerxes. He's not better than a lot of the top tier junglers. I think that Kabe North Scaren's going to be one of the better bot lanes. Xerxes and Vizichachi is going to be one of the better top sides. And then Humanoid, a lot of people are hyping him up, so I have a lot of faith in him, but I don't know.
I think the team that made like the weakest changes. Like,
are we doing that? I thought we were just doing two.
Oh no, people don't remember. A team Kadro's on XL Esports, so if we're talking about worst changes for EU teams, pickups, Kadro for anybody. That's it. All right, North America time.
So, I mean, without a doubt, the two most hyped rosters coming into NA scene is going to be 100 Thieves and Team Liquid.
Would you count Origin as hype? I don't think Origin has any hype around them.
No, they have. I mean, they have Alfaria Nuktuk, I think, and Mithy. I mean, Mithy could come back to form, but I mean, that I don't think that's as good as Splice and what's it called in terms of just again, this is only based off of good pickups. This is not on who I think is going to get first place. This is just pickups that were good in comparison to their last year.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, so yeah, North American time.
Okay,
I'm just going over.
Let's go to Team Liquid. Team Liquid got
Core JJ and Jensen. So now that I've had a chance to time to think about it, if Jensen doesn't fit the team dynamic, it's not going to work out. But
I don't imagine that Jensen doesn't really have a dynamic that kind of it meshes well with pretty much every kind of playstyle in existence.
Arguably one of the better upgrades in North America's mids for a team.
Yeah. Okay. So let's have in their bot lane went from one of like a mid tier support to 1 or 2 support. I think they went from obviously top ADC didn't change and he's still a top 2 ADC. They went from one of the lower half of the jungle, the mid lanes in the league to top 2 mid laners. Jungle and top stayed the same, so it's really just mostly the 2 that we're talking about. Their weakest positions, I think, in a sense now that this puts in a position where their worst player is Impact, and that's a really good worst player to be honest. This is a team where I could see them easily competing on the international stage, which we've said a lot of times. I don't know really, but I really expect them to be able to I think without a doubt they're going to make it to Worlds. I'm not even going to say I'm not even going to talk about NA now. I think they're going to just go to Worlds, and that's where the big problem is going to come in.
I think. See, here's the thing that can work out for TL that didn't work out for them last year. Jensen has been out of groups. TL hasn't. TL's won splits. Jensen hasn't. I think that both teams are going to meet the party's needs. It just depends on when. If we don't see TL win in spring, I could see them.
I mean, I don't care about all this stuff. I mean, reality is they filled in their weaknesses. I think they're good enough to pretty much compete with. They're the best team in NA. I think if we're going on paper, again, that's all we can go by. Who can compete with them? I
mean, they have a weaker top side than a lot of the teams do.
Not really. I think
Xmithy and Impact aren't really that strong of a top side.
I mean, Xmithy's in the top 4 junglers, if anything. Maybe
we had him power ranked at 3rd.
I put him at 3rd, yeah. And then Impact is one of the better. Where do we have Impact?
We had Impact at 6th.
I'll even. Look.
I had him at 6th.
I think I might have had him above that.
I had him at 6 comfortably because I think Impact does really well with just what he can do. I also think he's flexible enough to really challenge top laners outside of North America.
Let's think. We can look at him right now.
I had it. Yeah, I remember.
We both had him at 6th.
Yeah, okay. I just don't think he's.
That's the top of the half kind of.
What's no, yeah, but that's that can't really challenge Licorice and Someday.
You don't really have to. The thing about it is, you said top half, which is not just top lane. It's top and support. I'm jungle.
Yeah.
Just because Impact can't beat them doesn't mean I think on a tank he's one of the better in NA. I think he's one of the best tank support players in NA. He's completely capable of filling the kind of role that Team Liquid needs him to. So I think this is by far and away the best team in NA. I think there's really no one who can compete with them.
I think people could compete with them. It's just going to have to take a different approach. Because I do think their weaker top side can be exploited.
By who? Who has a better top side?
A better top side?
Better top side, yes.
Oh, goodness. Man, you're asking too much here.
No one has...
Someday... I mean, you could arguably put Someday and Onda there.
No, you can't.
Onda is such a... flipped. You have Someday that's better than Impact, but exploits worse than Onda.
But the difference between Someday and Impact are way... It's night and day in comparison to Xmithy versus Onda.
But that can kind of mitigate those type of possibilities.
It really can. I think that obviously there's
not
a...
Licorice and Svenskeren?
No.
Svenskaren's too inconsistent. Impact all year. It wasn't even really that close.
It was not bad. And on top of the fact, I don't think he's that much better.
And I think, I think Svenskeren could easily compete with Xmithy.
He's really not consistent enough for me to even put faith in him.
Who else we have up there? Haunter and Contracts?
No. Contracts looked absolutely terrible last year.
But Haunter could beat Impact.
And then what does Contracts do?
Contract is competent.
Literally the worst jungler in the league last year.
That was Lyra.
No, it was
really.
No, Contracts was the single worst.
No, what was it? Onda. Who was the worst?
It was Haunter. It was Contracts.
If you want to count junglers, it might have been Rainover.
It was completely Contracts. I disagree with anything. Rainover at least had a good. I think that Rainover still had a good.
Contracts at least made some big plays that paid off for his team. Rainover did nothing.
Rainover had good pathing. I mean, and then that's pretty much it. But I think that Contracts was still the worst jungler in the league.
Because I was just going over top side. See, the problem is I can see their top side being exploited.
It really can't, because if you're playing a top laner, no one's going to kill him. I think that he's able to hold his own against anybody in terms of just being a top laner. Obviously, he's gonna fall behind a little bit, but not by too much.
Touching of other teams.
There's no one. I really don't see this.
Brig, Broken Blade.
Okay, I'm just gonna. You're really trying too hard.
Serious at that point.
No, but I'm saying.
No, I just think that's a point where I can see them losing. That's where, like, when people are saying they're the best, you factor in this is still gonna be a team. If you go to international events, there's still gonna be a weaker top side of the map. It's still gonna be a thing.
I mean, we're talking about, again, big upgrades.
Yeah, but overall, yeah, they're most.
I still think they can get out of groups with this team. I don't care about their top side weaknesses. I think that Impact is a pretty minimal weak top. I think that most of the teams at Worlds have some form of weakness. So you can't really just say, we'll exploit your weakness, because most of the time, unless you're... Like, even IG themselves had some weaknesses. Everybody has weaknesses in the league, and it just depends on who exploits the other team's weaknesses better.
Probably one of the biggest moves in the offseason for a while. Biggest upgrade I've seen in North America in a long time is upgrading Bang over Rikara and Cody Sun. So that has to be one of the more bigger upgrades in the NA offseason for a while. So because you're basically taking off the Academy ADC, you're taking off Cody Sun, who got them the Worlds. Sorry, Cody. And you're replacing them for a former world champion, and SKT 80 carry. So the other one, we don't talk about that guy.
Yeah, so I want to point out, as much as I would like to, their biggest positional upgrade is mid lane. Might be surprising, because I
thought about that, but I still think it was Bang. That's a big upgrade.
You could say that, but Cody Sun absolutely tremendously played during the regular season, and I think that the fact is, even then they didn't get first place because of mid lane. Even though Cody Sun didn't go to Worlds, he still played extremely well during the regular season. So I could easily see this team. Their biggest problem was mid lane replaced. And I think that is the biggest. Obviously, this is still a gigantic upgrade in bot lane. I don't want everybody to think that I'm not saying it is. But the weakness in mid lane, it was not even competitive in NA. He was one of the worst mid laners in NA.
And I saw him play for the first few weeks, and I was like, he's going to be absolutely atrocious.
And some of these games, just like during the Fnatic season, where he just didn't kill Caps, because even when Caps overextended, like, Caps played absolutely terrible against him, and he still stopped.
I think he played terrible against him because he knew he could get away with it.
I could actually agree with that. I think that might be the reason. I still think that's not a good reason for him not to kill him.
He wasn't even able to beat people like Huhi anymore, even when Huhi was on a different team. He wasn't even able to even function against people like the weaker mid laners like Phoenix.
And now I think I think one of the bigger positional, like, again, another upgrade is the coaching staff. I think they have two.
Kelsey Moser is actually really smart about the game.
I was gonna talk about what's his name coming into the coaching staff. I think
Who
he's
they
gonna
have coming in actually? Because I know about.
It's literally
Kelsey.
Ryu. Ryu's in the coaching staff now, and I think that's
now we can make him bad from the inside.
I think he is a smart player. Though I do
Can
think
I understand him?
Yes, he speaks English. He's been in a Western team for years.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he's been on Western teams since H2K, which has been
Hard to kill.
yes.
Gosh, you're so mean. Okay.
I'm just saying, like, obviously the biggest upgrades in this team are, like, the coaching staff. I think is going to look really good with Ryu and Emily Rand joining. I think they're going to have a lot of people who know a lot about the game and on the
Probably
coaching
still the
staff.
head coach.
No, obviously, I don't think that changed anything.
Ryu is an assistant.
I think that so the biggest thing is that, and then bot lane. I think this is competitive. This might be the single best bot lane in the league. It's going to be between them and
Core JJ
and Doublelift. Those are going to be the two competitive. I think it's really close. I think these two are obviously really close. I think this is going to.
I can see Aframo and Bang being better.
I could see Core JJ and Doublelift being better too. I mean, honestly, these are two really aggressive laners. It's going to function really well with each other.
Because both of them have the same issue. None of them can speak to their ADC or their other core.
Core JJ has been in NA for a while. Remember?
So that's the thing. That's the thing that Doublelift has over.
Yeah. Core JJ speaks English. Bang, however, is a better player than Doublelift, I think, and that's really dependent on if that's actually like going to happen though. Like Doublelift seems to play better each year, so I think if we're gonna say this, I think that Core JJ Doublelift might be better.
I think Bang, like just looking at what I'm saying, I think Bang and Aframo will be better.
I can't deny that. I think either one of them could easily be better. I think this is an extremely close lane, and if it's not, I could be wrong. But I think that.
You don't believe Sneaky and Zazel the best bot lane in North America?
I think they might be the single most baby-faced one. Coming from me, that's
It might be the thickest.
Thickest, yeah. I mean, the thing about it is, if Zazel shaved off his beard, he would look 12. He would look like me.
And he would look beautiful.
He would.
In my eyes.
Like, honestly, I think, without a doubt, two of the most competitive top. But the problem is, the reason why I think that Team Liquid outs them is because of the difference in jungle. Xmithy in comparison to Onda, it's a big difference.
Other than that, from those two, I can't think of any other NA team that made any big. Technically, if you want to count Clutch made some big changes in different aspects than other teams. Echo Fox downgraded everything from last year. That's like not even close. Going from Huni and Dardoch.
Mid lane is a throw up.
Oh yeah, because it's the same person.
It's yeah, it is. I mean, it's the same person, but we don't know what kind of Phoenix we're gonna get.
The bot lane of Lost and Smoothie was probably better than Apollo and Hakuo.
That is a really, like...
I don't even know.
I don't even know.
Lost is not a team anymore because Lost wasn't that good.
I think he had
only
moments.
played Varus. He was only good on Varus.
He was good on a lot of ADCs.
He was good on Varus and Kai'Sa.
His Kai'Sa was good. I think his Varus was good. Obviously, that was pretty much the only things that were really in meta. That's why he played so much of them.
I think 100 Thieves, if you sub in Ryu for a game,
yeah, so that's pretty much it. I think.
Oh god,
we've pretty much went over all of them. I mean, obviously,
Power of Evil is an interesting thing for CLG.
That's not a bad. I mean, Power of Evil, CLG. I think CLG. Obviously, they also have who in the top lane? Darshan in the top lane is going to be weakness, and then they have Wiggly. I think Wiggly is going to be one of the better. I really
Golden
can't
Guardians.
say.
Golden Guardians. Probably, technically, if you want to count for just NA and worse teams, Golden Guardians made the biggest off changes. They changed out their weaker top laner. They changed out their weaker mid laners. They changed out their weaker bot lane. I think in terms of just what you got, Golden Guardians kind of upgraded better than what their counterparts did. Because remember, the top half of the league didn't need to upgrade as much as they did. They had to upgrade a lot because they were 10th place. I think if you look at them in general, I think Golden Guardians upgraded. Just
they would
Lorlo for Haunter. You have contracts. Don't talk about that guy.
You're so excited right now.
You had Mickey High for what's his name now?
High
Froggen.
I honestly, I'm gonna put this out there. Mickey on his good days is better than Froggen, right as it stands right now.
From what I saw at the Keswick Cup, yeah.
I really no. Mickey is an absolute like people underestimate how good he is when he's on.
He's the literal inconsistent mid laner.
But he is so inconsistent. He's literally if you
his name is the dice.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're gonna get.
You can literally like he is. He's
You want me to roll some dice for you?
coming like he was on. I believe he came in with Ever too, didn't he?
Mickey,
he did.
No,
Mickey.
he was on. No, he's on Freak of Freaks. They were called Rebels Anarchy.
No, let me see this.
Yeah, he was on Rebels Anarchy before they became a Freaka. That's where I first seen him at.
I don't think this is true. I'm gonna have to look.
Ever had Athena? Remember?
No, I know they had Athena.
Ever had Athena? That's why.
No, pretty sure. Let me see.
Am I?
They did have Athena. I remember, but I thought they had Mickey.
No, Rebels Anarchy had Mickey, and then they turned into a Freaka. Mickey, man. Woohoo! No.
Oh, he came in with. No, this isn't his first team for sure. Yeah, he did. He did come in with her. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always right. Well, how did you know?
But his big team obviously was like when he became on Rocks. That if anybody remembers him, he was with another one of the most iconic, inconsistent players in the league, Key. So those two, no, there's no way. But
and now you have the bot lane.
I think
the bot lane got upgraded. Matt for Ole.
I mean, obviously.
Ole for Matt because you don't have Matt for Ole.
And then Deathly for Deathly.
So technically, if you want to count, Golden Guardians made the biggest offseason changes in North America.
I think they're really good changes. Now, do I think they're in the top? No, but I do think they made the best. And in terms of from 10th to 5th, I think that's a completely upgrade.
That's five spots. You climbed. Spots.
Yeah.
I think Golden Guardians on power rankings for a lot of people are going to be at least 6th. They're probably going to make the... because you have Clutch Gaming who might make 6th too.
I really think they're so volatile, we don't know where they're going to land. So I'm not going to put my number on them yet.
Well, you have to, because we're going to do power rankings on NA soon.
Yeah, well, once that comes, maybe. But until then, I'm not putting a number on them because I really don't know. They are so volatile, who knows actually where they're going to land.
I mean, I'm always right, so it doesn't really matter.
But, like, the thing about it is inconsistency, or do we just not, like... Honestly, if we talk about all of these players popping off at once, I don't know what's going to happen. They, like, on paper, this team
I think Huni and Lyra is a massive downgrade to Huni and Dardoch.
I mean, again, if all of these players come back to their prime form...
If I somehow grew wings and flew out
Why
this
is that
window,
ridiculous to you?
Growing wings and flying?
No. Why would that be ridiculous to you that these players... Like, I don't think it's going to happen, but if it did...
I just don't see a world in which Piglet, Vulcan, and... That's like one of the weakest bot sides in the league.
How literally dare you?
How literally dare you?
How did you even say that?
How literally you English?
Okay. Okay. So, tell me how that's the weakest bot line. Tell me that now.
You have Piglet and Vulcan who... Last series they played...
One series. Not even series. One game they played.
No.
They did not look bad in the FlyQuest Academy. Stop saying that.
To be fair, they played against FlyQuest Academy's bot lane.
They did not look bad. And on top of the fact they were the single most dominant bot lane.
They looked better because they were playing FlyQuest Academy's bot lane.
If you actually watch their game instead of saying because they were in the academy, it doesn't matter.
Oh, I watched.
FlyQuest
bot lane was bad.
Yes, but they were the single most dominant academy bot lane in the league. By far.
DeMonte is not going to... We had him powering to 10th.
What are we talking? I'm talking about volatility, man.
I mean,
I'm talking about if all of these team players come onto form, we have 3 players who are at one point the best in their position.
Like, for Huni and Piglet and
Lyra.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, and DeMonte even was a top 5 mid laner at one point.
For like a couple weeks.
It was like, yeah, and then at Rift Rivals he looked really good too. I mean, and he's young. This could obviously come back with DeMonte.
He could obviously improve too.
So we could have 4 pretty good players on this team, and Vulcan was actually pretty good.
I think they're at least the dark horse.
I think they are, but again, they could be 10th place. Like, I don't think 10th. I think they're just too good mechanically.
I just can't see a team with Huni at 10th place.
This team is too good for 10th, but I could see them not making playoffs. But also at the same time, I could see them making playoffs and getting into the finals.
I could see them losing round 1 in playoffs.
I could see anything with this team. I
could see you getting married tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't see that. But I think they could, like, honestly beat the inconsistencies of what I really think that 100 Thieves is going to be inconsistent. I think they have really good players.
Ooh, damn.
I don't like their shot calling, man. Their best shot caller again.
I think Cloud9 will get a boost by being together for a lot longer because we've seen that with a ton of splits. A team that stays together longer changes one player is usually gonna be a
better player at the beginning of spring split, and then they don't do better. They don't do as good during the summer.
Well, yeah, but we saw that with Fnatic and Hillsang. They switched out Jezza for Hillsang. Fnatic were top all year.
That is the exact opposite of what you just said.
Bam zinger.
So I think that's pretty much it. We kind of got sidetracked because he insulted Clutch Gaming and Piglet at the same time, which are my two least favorite things.
That's pretty much it. So, comment, subscribe, most of all, enjoy. Inside for Nerds signing out.
We're gonna fight about Clutch Gaming after this.
The next power rankings are gonna be EU.
We're gonna do EU or Korea, China. We're still not. Are you want to do
the
EU?
China thing? I was thinking about just doing the best teams that I think will win the split because I don't really know too much about the other bottom teams.
That's fair. I mean, yeah. I guess that's fair. If you don't think you're confident enough to do it on that, that's 100% understandable.
I'll just pick 3 teams I think who have the possibility of making playoffs or winning the split, and I'm not picking WE. Okay. Would you pick WE?
No.
I think you would.
I wouldn't.
Because you like Figlet.
Well, WE is not in China.
You don't know that.
And he's not
WE
on WE.
is not in China.
I mean, Piglet is not in China, and he's not on WE. I don't even understand what you're saying. Goodbye. Oh my god. Shut up.
Dad's out.